going on? Good to be here. Thanks for having me, Nathan.
Yeah.
My name is Tyler. aYm, my artist name when I'm making music, doing that side of my Gemini life of multifacets and just making it all happen. But yeah, aYm with a capital Y, lowercase a and m. Spell it like that because I like to intentionalize the why, the question, more about that than the I and the personal interest. But I make R&B, hip hop, soul music, and I guess I just represent coming from like an authentic, genuine place when I'm creating and trying to channel my life's experiences in the most impactful way, sonically, I guess.
The why. Tell me more about the why, not just in your name, but just like why, you know, like why you create. Yeah.
I honestly think why is like the most important question that like humanity's ever been asked. I think it's really what's like propelled humanity forward throughout time. Because, you know, the where, the who, the when, that's going to be something that's like changing, and the variable in that is very high. But the why is what kind of, I guess, adds another dimension to all those things in a way, you know? Like those things are one of the axes, or all those things are axes and the axes, I think, in their own right.
I have no idea, but I get where you're going.
Yeah. And then the why is like adding this other axis of like intentionality and progress and just it's like I said, I just think it's the fundamentally the most important question that humanity's ever asked. So
and like direction, like what I take from that is like your name is aYm.
Yeah.
And so why, asking the question why, like giving yourself direction, and also like the name being aYm, like as in like where are you aiming, right? Yeah. So that's what I take from that. Whether you intended that or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, it all kind of stemmed from like the aYm Telos stuff, and then cutting the Telos part of my name when I branded it as aYm Telos back in 2015, and then 2018ish around the Hughes project is when I cut the Telos part, because it, again, to your point, just kind of felt redundant. Like the aYm was already kind of being the guidance, and then Telos, a Greek word, ultimate end, ultimate objective, was just kind of like, in a way, just redundant in that whole thing. So it was like, yeah, cut that, be a little cleaner, you know.
So you used to go by a different name, or not different, but longer.
Yeah, longer name. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So cut out the last part just because it was, again, just kind of not really adding much when like the first part did it in a way for me, you know. It just felt cleaner.
Thanks. So tell me about R&B, hip hop, and soul. What drives you towards those categories, and why would you like put yourself in those sections?
I guess it's just kind of like a triangulation of like a comfort zone between what those genres represent. You know, like hip hop allows me to rap, R&B allows me to, and the soul part, R&B and soul kind of in a way allow me to like have that kind of more down tempo, sing-song, melody, harmonic driven stuff where it kind of plays more to like my choir background, where I can sing, you know, and then kind of add harmonies, because that's always been something that I love. Is, you know, I'm a choir nerd at heart, was in choir all through college, so yeah, those genres just kind of allow me to still use those compounding vocal takes, and then
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And just for me, it's kind of where I feel I make the most impactful music for myself, you know.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah. Tell me about channeling. You said channeling when you were describing what you represent, like channeling good, and like how do you keep yourself in like the positive with all the crazy stuff that's going on around us, you know?
Oof, man.
Yeah.
Working on mindset, I feel like has been you know, I just turned 30 in June, and I feel like that's been a process that is like from day one of my life is something that I continually am mindful of and working on, you know. And a lot of it is just having dealt with a lot of, trauma and crazy things in my past in my life, like I've figured out how to, one, like best avoid those things. Obviously you can't account for like the chance and the randomness in life and being subject to whatever, but for me, just like being smart about where I put myself, being mindful about the situations
physically
I put myself in. And then and mentally and emotionally in terms of my relationships that I'm developing, like who am I keeping in my circle, who am I keeping out of my circle, because I don't need that energy, you know. I've learned some good lessons about kind of how to guard that and protect that, because it is sanctual in terms of like keeping equilibrium as like a level-headed person, you know. Because I've definitely felt what it's like to have like, I talk about it in terms of like an engine having cylinders, you know, like 6 cylinders, and if like 1 or 2 of them aren't firing, like your whole body's gonna feel that, you know. Your whole body in a way is gonna be like, man, like 4 out of the 6 things that are really important to me are great right now, but those 2 things just keep being like a knife just poking away at me, you know. And I think it's important to kind of make sure all those things are flowing, and if something's not right, check it, be mindful of it, get it working. If it takes a little bit of sacrificing of the other things, like that's really what it's all about, you know. At least how I've seen it so far, you know.
Tell me about 86.
86. It's my newest project. Just came out September 3rd. 6 songs, but it's a kind of an homage in a way to all my time that I've spent in the service industry. That's how I make the majority of my coins to survive. Is I take a lot of pride in what I do with service, and working at Handsome Hog and Shoutout, and the crew, the staff, the good people, you know, the experiences that we've all built and shared there together. You know, it's in a way it's kind of a fusion of my life's experiences with the restaurant, and also kind of putting that into some musical kind of twist. It's not like overly in your face, like it's continual, like now I'm bringing Coke stuff. It's just like, you know, there's little thematic touches of like, you know.
There was one part where you had like it was almost like a skit, and you were saying like, this dude's like, he was left in tears because I didn't have the briskets.
Yeah. The end of the title track 86, just like a little dramatized.
But it's like it's the stuff like that like really draws me personally as a listener into projects. You know what I mean? Because like I can listen to songs all day and listen to it on the radio. It seems like on the radio they don't even include that kind of stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that I love.
Sure.
So yeah. Anything else about 86? Yeah.
To that point, I feel like I released it completely on my own accord without any support and so, or like, you know, any label or like any like media being like, boom, check it out. It's just been all word of mouth love, and it's been phenomenal so far. So thank you to everyone who's checked it out. And to that point, like, I think it's a good homage, and for people who've listened to it, they've kind of said similar things in terms of the personality that's built into it, with the ad libs and like what you said, like the ending little teaser of having more personality. I think that's a good lesson that I learned from putting this project out. Is just like, you know, making sure that I'm being true to myself. Not only with like, of course, what I'm saying with the words and the lyrics, but also like with the ways that we as artists and vocalists can kind of spice things up with like ad libs and introjectory stuff that add more of our character, you know? Then it's not just like, here's my one vocal take, which can also be iconic. Of course, there's people who get by with like, they do one vocal take on a verse and it's like, holy shit.
Just clean, but yeah.
And I don't know, I'm kind of getting more to the point where like being thicker and more dense, but also being mindful when I'm mixing all that is kind of more like where I see my style going, you know, which is why, again, kind of cycling back to the R&B, hip hop, soul, it's like those are the genres that I feel best working in that kind of vein. So.
Talk to me about your visuals, like not only just like videos, but just like your artwork, your album covers. You know what I mean? Like the way you present your art, your style. You know what I mean? Like visually, how does aYm come across to people?
Yes, it's super important. You know, obviously, like art is received in many ways, and music is temporal, meaning that it takes time for anyone to digest a piece of music versus a piece of art on a wall can be something that you look at for 3 seconds and I look at for 3 minutes because there's more variance in it. So for me, kind of tying the musical side to the visual side is very important because I want them to be impactful visuals. In terms of the 86 project, specifically, it was something that was done by my friend Annika Likeness, and she basically just sat down with me one day and kind of heard me out on kind of the vision that I was having for the project, and came up with something really cool, you know. And it's the 86 project specifically has, you know, kind of the focal point is this pineapple, which is symbolic of the hospitality industry. That's kind of the theme that's built into the visual art is that you got the pineapple, and then you also have kind of this tunnel feeling, this effect of kind of moving towards this pineapple, and again, like what we were talking about of shedding the noise, is kind of like this effect of moving in and having this pineapple being this ultimate euphoric landmark or destination. So again, kind of building in the whole premise of the aYm brand with like this idea of 86 is really cool to see what she came up with. And I kind of, again, just kind of gave some rough guidelines and like showed her the tracks and like let her work with that, and then that's what she came back with, and then we kind of just tweaked it a little bit, worked on it, you know, cleaning up, you know, some of like the edgy, some of the spots that just kind of wanted to have a little work for where the text was going to be and that kind of thing. So it was a really just easy, we communicate really well and work together really well. And it was a really just a fun experience to see what she came up with, and it ended up being a cool kind of impactful visual for the project.
The pineapple too. And I saw some promotion materials including the pineapple, and like the moment you touched the pineapple, like that's when everything came to life, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so and that was with my cousin Chandler. Shout out to One Up, of course, Annika and Chandler. Chandler Ward, he's brilliant, you know, like he just, you know, kind of again interjected himself in once the visual art stuff was done and once I had all the masters. And he just kind of like sat and like listened to some of the tracks and spit back some ideas, and he just graduated from IPR in Edina.
Right. Yeah.
So we were able to, you know, use that amazing space to shoot a couple promo videos, and yeah, having that pineapple kind of theme built in was fun, and fun to have another creative head like Chandler to kind of paint some storylines, you know, short little quip videos of like, you know, involving that pineapple again as kind of the ultimate euphoric destination, whatever that is for people. That's kind of what I wanted that to come across as in that promo stuff. So
the aYm. Okay. One more thing on visuals. I remember an older video of yours that was in a car, and the camera was turning the whole time, and you were like in all the different spots of the car. Yeah. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so that was off the aYm Telos 2015 album.
Yeah.
That was something I shot with my brother Zach.
Yeah.
Shout out my brother Zach. He's now since started Moto Crane, his own company, and having amazing success and just crushing it. So when we shot that video, that was for a song called Gift off the aYm Telos project, and it was actually an idea that I had And then I kind of pitched it to my brother, and we took it and ran because it ended up working so well. But it was a 4-minute and 51-second song, I believe. And I had this idea to essentially shoot a video where in the middle of a car, the camera just rotated one full 360-degree pass. And then just kind of build in that time, like all these different storylines, and then merge it all together at the end with different shading and transitioning, etc., as it goes around 360 degrees. And the slowest like mount that we could find for that spinning rate was a 5-minute mount. That was the I guess what would you say, the fastest.
The fastest, yeah.
The fastest one that you could find was 5 minutes. So it was like the perfect kind of timeline and song to like add a fun little visual to. So yeah, that was like 6 years ago. I'm about to have my car paid off, and that was right when I got my car. So
yeah, that one really stood out to me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
that was. Yeah, I mean, I credit my brother entirely. It was an idea that I threw out, you know. So I'm happy I had the idea, and you know, it was kind of a fun way to kind of layer in different kind of stories. And we did some shots like dark in the city. We did some shots like early morning, like way out in the country where like the vibrant green comes in. So worked out well. And Liz Harper was in that video. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Liz too. So yeah man.
Crazy. So where are we physically right now? Where are we? What state is it?
In the simulation, man.
How do you feel about the simulation?
Hey, it's more and more present, you know. He told me your address today. I'm like, oh, my college dorm number.
As though there weren't enough numbers to load. It just had to go to those ones, right?
That 3-digit permutation.
Speaking of 3 digits, can you tell me about what it's like to live in the 612 or the 651?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I've been in St. Paul. I guess from obviously when I was at St. Thomas, 2009 to 2013, and then I was back at home in Prior Lake till 2016 when I moved back up to the city. 2015. Yeah. Either way, yeah, man. I'm usually good with like numbers and days, but that one, I've been in St. Paul for coming up on 6 years. So yeah, I guess 2016, and it's been great. You know, obviously like COVID's been kind of shitty, to put it lightly. Yeah. But we're found the way through. You know, we're still finding the way through, and a lot of the restaurants that were around my place have kind of, taken a hit or changed or limited their hours or, so it's like the area I'm at is, in Lower Town, just kind of, it's recouping, it's good to see like places reopening, but for a while there it was like, a lot of places were shut down and just doing takeout or, so it's had its kind of patches where it's, like everywhere, it's been a rough time. So it's good to see it kind of picking back up again. I opened for Art Crawl this past Art Crawl, which was cool. A lot of people showing love and coming through the spot. So man, I love where I'm at. I love my space. I don't really see myself leaving anytime soon. It's like it's a blessing of a spot. So
St. Paul. And tell me about the Hog.
Yeah, Hog. The Handsome Hog restaurant that I serve at. I've been there since we opened in Lower Town. So I mean, it's phenomenal Southern contemporary barbecue. Amazing cocktails. Chef Justin Sutherland. About to be on that new season of Chopped. So yeah, man, we're not going to be slowing down. It's just going into the winter, which is nice because we get to kind of focus in on service, and patio season gets to be a bit of a grind. So it's nice to just kind of have a little more composed service being inside. Everything's nice, fully stocked. You're not like splitting resources to patio and inside and like needing all this stuff.
Balance, right?
Yeah, man.
That's perfect, because my next question is like work and life balance. Like, how does that work for you? How have you gotten to the point that you're at now? You know what I mean? Like how I know for me that's super important. How important is it for you?
Yeah, it's super important, especially in the service industry. You know, like I try to be
burnout, right?
Yeah. And mental health stuff is like taboo and like pushed under the rug to talk about, honestly, so like I try to be as like mindful and open and loving to my coworkers, and trying to be like a beam of energy every time I walk into that place, because I want to keep it positive, I guess for me, like that balance is struck through just like being, again, aware of how I'm spending my time. I'm not really the type to like go out party all the time. Like, a lot of people in the industry, like to, for sure, like once, twice a week, sometimes more, like go out, get wasted, or like go out and bar hop. And I don't know, like I'm not like hating on that lifestyle at all. It's just not how I kind of am able to like recoup and find the energy to, again, find that balance, I'd much rather like go home and, play some video games, work on a new beat, just be quiet, with the world around me, rather than like in a restaurant where everything's really loud. I just find like that on-off switch, making sure that those, the motion between is something that's actually significant.
There you go.
Not just like, hey, I'm going into work, I need to turn on, and then like, oh, I'm gonna turn off now, but I'm still around a shit ton of people and I'm getting lit up. And like, that's just not how I turn off. Some people turn off that way, and again, it's how they want to live their life. I just prefer to turn off in a way that like actually allows me to recoup and re-energize, and relax. So. It's a intense industry. Obviously, it has been through being open through COVID. We didn't really get a break aside from like the takeout time when everything was shut down. But in terms of when we were open, man, like we've been busy up on the hill, So
new location.
Yeah.
Shout out Handsome Hog, man.
Hell yeah, and Chad too.
Shout out Chad.
Shout out Chad. The random guy going to Handsome Hog, he's always one random Chad going to Handsome Hog.
Shout out to the stimulation. Man, so yeah, let's talk about this real quick. You and I disc golf a lot.
Yes, sir.
Like we fucking love to disc golf, and like this is a music-based conversation. But I want to talk about disc golf with you for like a second.
And I think that probably parallels from your last question.
Yeah.
Like disc golf is a great way to get outside. Do something that's like that you can get better at, that you can be constructive about your growth with, while also like exercising, going for a walk, enjoying the weather. So yeah, I guess I didn't even parse that into the work-life balance that much, but that is definitely an important facet. Getting outside. But yeah, no, it's been fun, man. We've definitely grown a lot together. I mean, from the days I randomly hit my ace at Lions Park. Like
I still remember being shocked.
4 or 5 years ago. My only ace I've ever hit.
Did I just see that?
And now I think we're around like, I think Nathan and I played like 45, 50 rounds this year.
Yeah,
so,
probably.
Yeah, just this year, just this calendar year, which is pretty cool, man. I appreciate having a companion you to do that with,
Definitely, man.
And if anyone wants to get out, hit us up. Let's throw together,
It's great. It's a great way to grow. Yeah. So talk about your community and your friends and your friend group and your music community.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, like my music community, I've obviously grew up in, kind of like the rap fam.
Yeah.
Doing it when everyone was like aggressively pursuing events all over the place. Yeah, and that's the thing is like,
different time.
In terms of like you say friends and friend groups. Like I'm 30 now, and like for me, like a lot of my homies are like kicking it out in the burbs, like married with a kid now, or a kid on the way,
Straight
or
up. Me too.
And for me, it's like it's you know, a little bit alienating just because like I no longer can see them as often, which is totally fine. Like they are, you know, responsibly like taking care of like a family.
Yeah, like Bill.
Like Billy.
Yeah.
You know, my homies, my glass buddies. You know, like some of my college buddies. You know, like a lot of guys are and gals are just kind of moving on to new places. You know, and then having new commitments, and aren't able to, you know, maybe see each other as much anymore. And like I said, it's totally fine, but it kind of has, you know, made me cherish the times that we do get to spend together that much more. Yeah, and then like again, I was on like a hiatus musically up until this '86 project, so like I haven't really been kicking it and collabing with many artists. Again, COVID was kind of put a weird kind of like wedge in terms of like comfortably seeing people, and obviously you could still collab on stuff, you know, from distance, but there's something magical about, you know, getting together and, you know, putting one in the air and enjoying some time and enjoying some vibes. Like that's how I like to create when I'm collabing. So yeah, I guess like my music community's been, you know, just kind of having those people that I have had in my life that are still supporting and sharing my new project and showing love. And then, you know, working on, you know, trying to curate some shows, hopefully coming up this winter and spring. So, yeah, man, I want to, you know, get back into things and...
Because you just played that show with Bloomer.
Yeah, I just played that show with Bloomer at Ice House, so that was fun. Hopefully working on something else at that venue. So, yeah, and then yeah, friends. Like I guess another big part of my you know, work-life balance, fantasy football. You know,
yes.
I'm a big. So 'tis the season. You know, we're in the middle of the season, so like my league of record like group chat is usually like always talking. So like that's one way that I can. You know, just kind of
That's
like
your shit.
Yeah. Shout out to the Skepsis group chat. You know, they're the homies. You know, like a lot of the Glass brothers are in that league, and Billy. You know, a lot of homies who've I've been, you know,
it's more than just
in good
the
graces
football.
with for a long time. Yeah. It's way more than that. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, someone's usually sharing like a meat picture that they're smoking every single day, or like, you know. You know, tons of inside jokes at this point, which is fun. You know, like it's a rich kind of lore already that we've built.
Right, you like it, rich history.
yeah, rich history already. So yeah, man. I mean, you know, so it's that's kind of how I guess, you know, having friends that are transitioning into new things. Like yeah, just don't see my friends as often as I once did. So kind of making new friends and having that work family has really been important. Because I do spend a lot of time at work, so having people that I love being around there really means a lot. So, yeah, I guess kind of just thinking on that question more, that's kind of where I find the support. So,
in many different areas. And I know you have a very supporting family as well.
Absolutely.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, very supportive family, you know. So, yeah, blessed to have good people all around, you know.
Can you talk about like paying bills with music and like how that is a reality? Like, and like a lot of people kind of just discount it as like something that is like far-fetched, like, oh, I have to be famous, like, but like not really. Like you can like make your car payment, or like, you know what I mean? And like the reality, like, because like oftentimes a barrier to music is having time to be able to create it, right? So if we can make it do both, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I think it's just like people get into the industry maybe with the wrong understanding of kind of what the path looks like, if that's fair to say, in terms of like, I need a label record deal to make money.
Right.
I need to go on tour to make money. XYZ, and while those things can be, you know, supportive and helpful to that, like, there's plenty of ways to monetize that are outside of those means or those opportunities that you're given. You know, not everyone signs a record deal or goes on tour.
Facts.
But a lot of people nowadays can pitch their stuff to, you know, submit hubs or like submission places where
Yeah.
you can have your stuff heard. Or there's a lot of places that are just taking submissions for like commercial, synchronization.
Sync licensing.
Yeah, syncs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, synchronization is huge, man. I mean, like if you can get your like instrumental, if you're a producer, if you can get your instrumental placed on like a TV show or like placed on a XYZ, anything that like people are going to be hearing it and it's played over and over, you're literally getting a cut of that royalty either every time it's played or they're going to negotiate some kind of blanket fee. They're going to say,
I learned
hey,
that from Bane.
What's that?
I learned that from Bane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Davis is a wise dude.
Yeah.
So like it's and a professional in it, So
Facts.
like that's finding the way to do it. Is hopefully gonna help just kind of curate that professionalism, because then you know the route. Then it's just okay. I've been shown that. I have the ability to, reach it again, however that is by submitting or knowing the email or knowing the place that your creation needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And being like tactful with your art too, like taking your time with the mix, taking your time making good things. Don't, I've learned that lesson. Just don't feel like, because you made something that, if you have some kind of entitlement that it needs to be heard, like it's in a lot of ways, like you just need to create from a source that's comfortable for you and be diligent about putting it out there, but don't feel like anyone owes you anything. That's just going to kind of dig you a hole in a way, like just stay on top, like ride the waves, if like a wave's coming and it's trying to take you down, just like point your board up and just like whoop on to the next one, as opposed to like getting caught down. Then you're
such a great metaphor,
because there's a lot of waves, man, and like if you can just kind of keep going, like the tide will hopefully rise in time, and that's what it's about. It's a slow churn. It's not a twist of overnight celebrity, It's not one of those where like all of a sudden you're just like, going to the Cadillac shop and getting a new, 2022 CTS. It's about, taking those steps that are realistic for you, and a lot of them don't cost that much money to submit your music. So like the resource and availability, ease of entry is there for most people, So I would say that's kind of the key thing. Synchronize, pitch your stuff to get licensed, synchronized on things. And obviously playing shows is a nice way to monetize if you have merch, play local shows, when you can. You don't need to go on long tours with 10 stops.
Right.
You can play local shows and have a few items of merch and make a little bit of dough to pay your rent or pay your bills, so.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad that we see that the same way.
Yeah, I think people just are too aggressive with their reaches sometimes forward. I think, and it comes from a spot of, sometimes just impatience or, dare I say desperation in some cases, but more so it's just like, just be patient, and and I say desperation almost rightfully so, because sometimes it's infuriating to again be pushing your stuff out and feel like you again, but then that goes back to the point of not feeling like you are deserved anything or owed anything. Like it's that balance of just being diligent, keep your nose to the grindstone, and but don't be deterred by I've definitely submitted music, for the 86 project, and I hear back from, so it's been submitted on some Spotify playlists, and then other ones it's hey, I want to hear more, but this is XYZ, not our thing,
Facts,
or hey, just didn't really care for how the mix sounded, which I mixed the song. I don't mind hearing that.
Right.
I don't mind hearing that I want to be better in any way, and if it takes, critical
feedback,
constant kind of sharpening of the knife, yeah, like then next time I go into the kitchen, I'm cutting with an even sharper blade, and I'm
Facts.
being even more aware of that, you know.
Mhm.
So.
And I've definitely seen your progression.
Thank you.
You know, not that you need any outside verification, but yeah, your shit is tightened up. It knocks more. It's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and shout out to Tony William at Minnehaha Recording Company for doing all the masters.
Beautiful.
So I did all the mixing of the vocals.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Tony's quality. So if you need any mixing master work, he's certainly someone I confide in and
That's
trust.
Minnehaha, right?
Minnehaha Recording Company, yeah.
Ew. Shit. Speaking of companies, artists, Minnesota entities that you want to shout out, now would be the time to do that.
Yeah, I mean, my brother, like I said, Moto Crane, huge support for me. He's crushing it. That's basically like a camera mount for cars, and he's doing really well with that company.
Yeah, super dope.
Yeah, again, I shout out the restaurant, yourself, Staring at the City. I appreciate everything you're doing. You know, keeping people in good graces, keeping people like positive with their time that they're spending during all this. I think that's been really cool for you to enable for other people.
It's helping me as well.
So, yeah,
You
oh
know?
hell yeah. I'm sure it's a you know, reciprocating feeling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, that's love, you know. And other than that, I mean, shout out to anyone still creating, putting their stuff out. I'm gonna be working on, you know, writing my next project. So if any producers are out there want to send me any beats, I always like, you know, talk to producer and, you know, looking, you know, any way to compensate. Like I'm not just the type to like, oh, you sent me that? Sweet, now it's on my next project. Like, you know, I get that everyone's out here spending their time and trying to have, you know, some compensation for it is absolutely like fair, you know, like it's I think that's another thing that artists and especially like vocalists and MCs and need to be better about, like being more mindful and just respectful of producers.
Because you
know?
produce,
And
but
not-
you also
yeah.
work with other producers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But specifically people who don't produce, who just write lyrics and just like, you know, sing or rap or whatever on beats, like I think there needs to be more respect given to producers in general, because I think a lot of times people just like
Facts.
rip a track and then just don't even like credit them, and it's like, dude, like that's, I don't know, for me, like the beat is at very minimum like about half the song,
Right.
You know,
If not more, right?
if not more,
Yeah.
you know, because it's driving the tone.
It has to knock.
A lot of times like a vocal chorus could maybe make you think of the song maybe
Yeah.
more, but again, like at minimum very close to 50-50, which is like you have to be respectful of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
so yeah, that being said, if you've heard the project and know me and, you know, want to send any beats over, like I'm going to be starting to write my next project, so
I feel like you're probably even more sensitive to that, being that you produce a lot of your own music and coming from that like musical side of things with choir and playing the piano.
yeah,
Right.
intellectual property, man.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
got you.
It's all worthy of like being recognized.
And what do you use? What program?
For Logic
What
Pro 10.
Logic, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking at getting a Nord keyboard eventually, just to add more like sounds, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's always my thing, is I just want more sounds.
Right. Additional options, right?
Particularly like, and percussion sounds, like particularly more like kick snares and hi-hats, like, you know, like I just can never get enough like.
Shout out Fib, man. When it comes to like
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous, like crazy amounts of sounds, right?
Yeah, man.
And you also shouted him out on your project too, so I felt like that was necessary.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. No, that's I felt like it was due, you know, like he's the man.
Is there anything else that I really get to? See you on Apex anytime soon?
Yeah, potentially, man.
Yeah? Hopping on the new seas?
Yeah, the new season's pretty fun.
Little Riders Republic, maybe?
Ah. Yeah, I don't know. I've been on the Forza Horizon 5. Not really a car guy, but giving it a whirl.
New Need for Speed coming out. Well, I appreciate you spending your time with me here today.
Oh, yeah. Thanks
It
for
means a
having
lot.
me.
If there's anything else you'd like to say, or if not, can you just like shout out Staring at the City and say your name one more time, or if there's anything else you want to add into?
Yeah.
Time is yours.
Yeah, no. Thanks again for having me, Nathan. Shout out Staring at the City. Much love, man. It's great to be here. And keep doing your thing. Keep on keeping on with whatever you're doing, man. Keep creating. Keep being artistic. You know. Keep driving. Keep whatever motivates you day in, day out. Just keep that fire underneath, and you know. I think the world will be in a better place if we all kind of do that, you know.
Thank you, brother. I love you. Peace.
Oh yeah, love you.